Police are working a deadly shooting in northwest Miami-Dade.
The victim in this case, the son of former state senator Daphne Campbell.
LaCoria, Washington, is accused of shooting the former senator's son at the Monte Carlo condominiums.
They were supposed to check on who comes in and comes out, and nobody saw anything apparently.
Marshals finding the 24-year-old woman 250 miles away in Port Orange.
Campbell posted this on Facebook. She called the killing senseless, saying her son's 3 kids are now without a father.
My name is Thomas Hasty. I oversee our South Florida Premises Liability Group. Daphne Campbell and her family called us in the fall of 2021 after their son had been murdered in an apartment complex inside a residential unit. Jason Campbell was visiting a friend of his who lived at the Monte Carlo Condo Association, and they wanted us to find out what happened to their son and then to bring to justice those who were accountable for the negligence that resulted in Jason's death. I was 31 at the time this case came in. I may never have a case like this again. What we developed over 4 years of litigation is that the murderer of Jason Campbell had come on to this property in February of the same year, prior to him being murdered in June, and gotten past a security guard, got to the door of the same tenant that our client was visiting, banged on the door with a gun, left down the parking lot when the tenant wouldn't open the door, and shot out both the tenant's vehicle and her guest's vehicle. She then fled the property. 10 days later, a new security company came on, and the management company, who was aware of this shooting, did not tell that security company, hey, we just had a shooting 10 days ago. Be on the lookout for this person. This person is banned. She can't come in. Call the police, call the tenant. The management company didn't tell the condo board anything about the shooting until June 1st, 2021, when that murderer came back to the property and walked through the same gate that she had breached before, except this time, the security guard didn't let her through a vehicle. The security guard watched her walk up to the security hut, walk through the gate, and walk to the same tenant's door with a firearm. That tenant heard a knock on her door. So she got out of bed, went to the door, opened the door, and she was confronted with a person with a ski mask and a gun. And that person was the same shooter from February. The shooter pushed past her, ran into the bedroom, and shot our client in the chest. Our client escaped down the stairwell into the parking lot where he succumbed to his injuries. After the February shooting, any reasonable property owner, management company, and security company would have banned that person from ever stepping foot on the property again. It would have been a call the police on site situation. It certainly would have been at least call the tenant if you see this person. Her face should have been posted in every office building. It should have been posted in the front security hut, and instructions should have been passed to that guard from everybody. Do not let this person in. Our case involved clear evidence of negligence. Most important, failure to communicate information that was known by a security company to the management company, from management company to the ownership entity. This family was broken. We rejected the $1 million offer because we had 5 survivors. The facts of this case were so egregious and the failures were so egregious that with $1 million, it just wasn't going to compensate anyone for what was taken from them or hold the defendants accountable for their failures. The judge gave us some leeway on how to describe the incident because it was an unusual case. The voir dire in this case, we had 75 jurors, and we needed to be able to describe what happened so that we could test the jury instruction, whether the jurors would be able to follow the law. We tested out what their feelings were with personal injury cases. And of course, when they heard that this was a shooting death at a property, there was security and management involved, a lot of the fear and bias that jurors come into our courtrooms with about this being that kind of case really went out the door. I'll start with the true allocation of fault. This tenant, when you talk about, 21, 22-year-old living on their own, they don't have the life experience. And so she didn't even check the peephole. So she opens up the door and all of a sudden this horror show occurs. The apportionment to her was 7%. The property managers were the ones who were taking in all of the evidence and the data. Instead of communicating it to the decision makers, they withheld it. We submitted requests for incident reports, board minutes, notifications from the property management company about issues on the property, and they had none. So beyond the foreseeable murder that we have in this case being committed by the same person who tried to attack this tenant before, we also had years of criminal calls for service on this property, years of property crime, years of crimes against persons. We expected that information to be given to the board with a reasonable recommendation about how to resolve it, try to address it, anything, and there was nothing done. So after hearing how destroyed this family was, we asked the jury for between 80 and 200 million. We felt that was a reasonable range. When the verdict came out, I was reading the verdict form in front of me as I'm listening to the foreman describe the awards. And first, whether each party was negligent. ACAM, yes. Monte Carlo, yes. EMS, yes. The jury understood our argument and understood the evidence in attributing 57% to ACAM, 18 to Monte Carlo, 17 to EMS, and 7% to the tenant. I was told I would lose this case at every stage, not by the people on my side, but the people on the other side. From start to finish, we brought the full firepower of this firm to bear on this case. And the verdict was $100 million. And so when we finished with the verdict and I heard the damages awards, I couldn't do the math in my head in the moment, but I knew that they had understood what was taken from this family, who was responsible, why they were responsible, and they understood the story that I was told I would never tell. And that felt like validation.